and welcome back to another episode of the Freelancers Tea Break, the short and sweet podcast you can enjoy whilst you're making a cuppa. And this week, I'm going to talk about something controversial. Well, it's kind of controversial. We'll see. When I was thinking about what to name my book, I went for the freelance lifestyle because I thought that is very much what I'm all about. It's what I promote. But I really did think about whether to use the word freelance. And there's a few different reasons. And I thought I'd share with them with you because I think there's a lot of interesting discussions out there about the term freelance. So I almost didn't call it the freelance lifestyle because I know that the term freelance is one that, although technically a lot of people are freelance, not everybody uses that term. It's really difficult because, first of all, the definition isn't always clear to everybody. Secondly, I would say that the value that the word freelance has is lower than if, say, someone calls themselves a contractor or a consultant or self-employed even. The word freelance has been devalued a little bit. And I was looking into why this is. And I think there's a few different things. I think the gig economy really kicked in and reduced the value of it. So a lot of the freelance marketplaces out there, especially I think with ones like Fiverr, where the value really, really dropped for a lot of people, partly because of the value of the pound and people being able to bid or offer services from other countries where they possibly don't have to have as high a rate and things like that. That all caused problems. There was a time when a lot of people were just using freelance and they maybe didn't have a business. And I think also there is a perception that freelancing means part-time or not a full business. And people sometimes don't take it seriously as a term. And I find it challenging because I think a lot of freelancers are incredibly hardworking. If they are part-time, they are working incredibly hard in the time that they are available. And also some are part-time because they're doing things like power hours and things like that. Or because, as I talk about in the book, lots of freelancers are freelance because they need flexibility around caring for others and their own mental, physical health, neurodivergence, all those sorts of things. I had a really interesting conversation on one of my business lounge calls. So I run a membership called the Freelance Business Lounge, and we were talking about it. And we kind of realized that actually the term freelance is much more common in the B2B world than the B2C. If you're not familiar, business to business versus business to consumer. So if you are a marketing manager or a consultant, you might be more likely to use the word freelance. But if you're B2C, like a plumber or a hairdresser or a coach or a counselor, any of these sorts of things, you're much less likely to use the word freelance, or that's what I've seen and in conversations. And funnily enough, the B2C people will be much more likely to call themselves small business owners or sole traders or limited companies than they would be freelance. So I was conscious that if by using the word freelance, am I alienating a lot of B2C people and also a lot of people who they are technically freelance, but they don't describe themselves as freelance? And I think what it came down to is that I looked at my community, and most of the people who have entered my community, they don't necessarily call them freelance, but they understand what it means. And that was the most important thing for me. But it's difficult because when the definition of something or the perception of a word changes, you can't just suddenly make everybody go back to their understanding of it before. That's how language changes. But I know that I still have so many people who search for these terms and find my Facebook group or find my blog or my podcast. So it made sense to stick with the freelance lifestyle, and it's my brand. But it was a really interesting thing to look into. And I guess I'm curious about what you all think as well. Are you a freelancer but don't use the term freelance? Do you use other terms instead, like contractor, self-employed, sole trader, small business owner? They all fall under the umbrella of self-employed, basically. But it is very interesting how the word freelance has lost its value. And I'm kind of determined to prove that wrong a little bit, but also I understand. And it's why I've started to use a little bit more of freelancer and small business owner, that sort of thing. I think as well, another area that I guess changes it is when people, they are when freelancers are offering services, but also perhaps products, whether it's like I've launched a book, but other people might launch courses and things like that. I think that's when people step away from using the word freelancer, because then they are more a small business owner or an entrepreneur, any of these sorts of things. So I think it will change over time. I don't think the term is dead completely. And I'm still very much, I'm keen to educate as many people as possible that freelancing is a thing at all, because I don't believe it's still taught very well in schools and universities and things like that. We're getting there, but freelancing is still not really shown as an option. And I'd love to see it as more of an option for more people. So yeah, that's a bit of my mission, I think, this year, to continue educating people that freelancing is an option, even if they don't actually like the term freelancing. But if you're on Spotify and you're listening to this, you can leave me a comment on the bottom of the podcast. You just scroll up, I think, and there's an option there. Or come on over to the Facebook group or the Discord group. Both of them are free to join. And we often have chats about that in there. So yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts, basically. I hope you have a wonderful freelance, or I guess small business or sole trader or limited company week. Freelancer week, it just sounds easier. It's more simplistic to me. But I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next episode.